Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 569 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler, and join me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What is up, Oos?
Oh, let me tell you something, Moose. It's just feeling so pretty freaking good right now, dude. That's that's because got a couple days off, no work to contend with for the good solid part of the week. But at the same time, it's gonna be some warm days coming up where I'm at, and
Mm.
it's gonna be some fun times just to go try to play some games. But other than that, though, dude, dude, after some of the stuff we were watching before recording this podcast, man, my mind is just kind of mentally kind of drained after
Yeah.
that.
Gables and I made the mistake of watching the THQ Nordic showcase and then watching a someone go through a top 10 2D platformers list where Broforce, Terraria, and what was it? Mega Man Zero were in the top five, and Mario 3 was number 10.
I know. It's a total meme worthy list, dude. It's
Yeah,
absolutely a meme worthy list, man. Oh, but other than that, dude, how have you been doing?
I'm doing it right now. Doing better. Taylor Swift just finished her Era tour, but I am currently just starting my Oktoberfest Era tour here by drinking a lot of Samuel Adams Oktoberfest right now.
Yeah.
But no, I'm doing pretty good here. I can't wait though till we start getting some of those local Oktoberfest beers and try some of those out. I'm always a fan to try out pretty much any and all Oktoberfest. So excited about that. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you though.
Yeah, what's up?
I had a scary moment about 5 minutes before we hopped on the Skype call here. Um, I am proud to say that I've gone my whole life without shitting my pants.
Oh god, yeah.
And every night before we go to bed, I take my dog for a little walk around the little square here in my apartment. We get about I don't know a quarter of the way through this walk. I'm totally fine, feel normal, no issues. And then there was just like a shotgun blast right in the asshole. And I was like, oh, you know that feeling like whenever, you know that feeling when you're just like you're fine and like, oh, it just hits you out of nowhere. That's what hit me, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing like I'm not feeling great. Like so we start kind of walking a little like, but you're like you got to go really bad, but you can't really walk any faster because you got to go really bad, but also you can't really hold it because you got to go really bad. There's that weird conundrum like I got to walk fast but also be gentle with the way I'm walking. So we make it through, and Gables I'm like, I gotta let out that little fart there, the little I gotta just buy me some time here fart.
uh,
And I did a little fart and I'm like, I think I just shit my pants.
so
I'm
you have
like,
Caesar's ghost just give you a good punch in the stomach.
yeah. So I'm like, oh no. And we're like 50 yards away from the door. I'm like, oh no. So like I'm just like thinking, I'm like, if I just shit my pants, then I'm like starting like I'm wearing gym shorts right now. What if it just went down my leg? This is the things I'm thinking about, Gables. Getting real gross here. Hopefully you're not eating. If you are, I apologize. But this is
Uh,
important to me. So therefore, it's important to you. You download the podcast. You're watching the podcast, and if you download it and you're watching it, you like, follow, subscribe, 5 stars everywhere podcasts are at. Also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all the other things. Um,
that awkward moment when your dog just looks back. It's like,
he's like, I thought. He's like, yeah. He looks at. He's like, I thought you let me out so I could shit outside. Why are you shitting? So I'm very much concerned, Gables. So luckily no one comes outside. It's dark outside also, so that helps
uh,
too. Get in the house. Barely make it to the fucking toilet.
oh,
I do the spot check in the underwear. Didn't shit my pants. We're good, guys. The streak continues, baby. Let's go. I'm good. Still doing
oh,
great. Don't even know where it came from. It's very weird. I had some steak and potatoes tonight for dinner. But that was like 4 hours before that. It's very weird. It's just kind of like yeah. It's like of all the all the times. Like I ate 4 hours ago. Why is all of a sudden hitting me? And then like when I'm like in a spot where I'm nowhere near a bathroom right now. My dog he wants to go for a walk. I promised him a walk. I can't take it back from him because then I'm a liar and he'll never trust me again. So
oh my god, dude. I will. Oh man, I'm just I'm just picturing the image of your dog just like trying to go into the bathroom after you gone to the bathroom. It's just running out and they just start gagging.
Yeah. Or like we're just like both squatting next to each other, taking a shit in the yard.
And the dog's like, "Huh?
Yeah.
Why is
Yeah. And then
Dad? Why is
yeah.
Dad taking a poop too?"
Yeah. And then we're both wiping our asses together on the carpet. That's what we bonding moment.
uh,
What are you doing, Dad? Yeah. So no, I'm doing other than that though, Gable's doing all right. It's been a long, stressful week, obviously, as you could tell. Very stressful moment there earlier today.
All I
But
can
no,
imagine.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing okay. Drink a few beers here, bullshit with you. So it's gonna be a good time, Gables.
Yeah.
But let's ruin those good times, Gables. Let's talk about some news this week in gaming.
Alrighty.
More more specifically, let's talk about that Pokemon Presents that we had. This was it Tuesday. We had this.
Yes, it was Tuesday morning around 6 a.m. my time. I think it was like around what 9 years or something.
8. Yeah, I'm
8.
2 hours ahead of
Yes,
you.
two
Yeah,
hours.
so I avoided the internet the entire day and I watched it when I got home. I did do a live react, so if you guys check out our
Mhm.
YouTube channel, you can check that out. And also, give me a thumbs up on that one. Appreciate if you did it. It was a very long day. It was like a 35-minute long presents, and I was like, I got home late. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. Whatever. It's 35 minutes. Um, and god damn it, it was not worth it. But anyways, let's get into some of the news here. It started off, like I said, it was 35 minutes long. I think probably the longest Pokemon Presents we've had yet.
Mhm.
Typically they're like anywhere from like literally a trailer to like 10, 12 minutes. They're not they're normally not like this is like a Nintendo Direct size event here. Um,
I think the longest they've ever had was like maybe 15 minutes max.
yeah, yeah. But usually it's like you get like most of it is filler, and then like you stay there for like the big thing at the end. And it's kind of more the same there. But this one, it's a lot more filler though. So to start off here, we got Pokemon. We got the Pokemon trading card fucking World Championships going on right now. It was very weird to do this because like they did this on Tuesday and they announced like all the swag you get if you are
Mhm.
in the championships in Japan right now. Like all this is all the stuff you get if you are in the tournament, and it's like, bitch, like the tournament's 4 days from now. It's not like, and it's in Japan. It's not like everybody's like, well, wait, I might go, but I want to wait and see what kind of free shit I'm gonna get if I go to this tournament in Japan. No, everybody's already booked the tickets. Everybody's already going. That's gonna go. But they showed some more swag. They announced the championship that's going on. Some cool merch you can only get there at the Pokemon Center in is it Kyoto that's in, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kyoto.
Um, we did get a trailer for a brand new Pokemon Path to the Peak. I don't know why I got popped my peas a lot on that one there. I don't like that. But Path to the Peak is a new animated series focused on the trading card game. Kind of looks like a cool like almost like a Disney like Pixar like Disney animated show coming to YouTube. Looks when does it start again? I think it's September, wasn't it? Um,
Possibly.
God, I can't. They don't have the date in here. But I think it comes out starting next month. And I don't know. Look kind of like a. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna watch it. It's like a little short they're doing. But it's like a girl. She moves and she meets friends through the power of playing Pokemon trading card game. But looks kind of cute, and it's like a. It's also really great. To like. It's like when the 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 army, like the United States Army, made that army shoot PC shooter game, so like as
Uh
a way to
huh.
recruit people to join the army. And now Pokemon's doing
Yeah.
the same thing by making an animated cartoon on YouTube that is made to teach people how to play Pokemon trading card game. So then you'll grow
The
up.
Pokemon Army.
Yes, yeah, they're making a Pokemon Army, Gables. They're gonna take over the world. It literally is that episode of South Park where they make fun of the Pokemon with the Chin Pokemon, and then it turns into like it's like Japan is like tricking our kids into joining the Japanese army to bomb the United States. Gables, it's happening. Nintendo is doing it. Game Freak is doing it.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god! Like, yeah, fucking South Park, man. Like they predicted everything. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I thought it looked kind of cute. I don't think it's something I'm gonna watch probably, unless it's like super short. Did anything so far tickling your fancy, Gables?
No. As a matter of fact, it's like that animated short is okay. Not too much of a fan of the art. Looks kind of lazy in some aspects, but at the same point, I haven't given a chance to watch the short that is on YouTube currently. But let me say, going off from what we had been presented up to this point, it's just a lot of in reviews and stuff. I thought it was kind of weird, like what you were saying in regards to the whole the Pokemon world, yeah, the Pokemon tournaments and stuff that are going on in Japan currently and stuff, and then having, ironically enough, oh, look at what happens if you're part of this tournament, all this swag, all this and that. I mean, that's pretty weird since most of the people watching this presentation are not even going to be in Japan to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the other stuff that were announced there before, some of them, the ones I was kind of interested in, it's like they had, they basically had like a whole bunch of reviews of like a couple of different types of updates for games. They said like Pokemon Sleep is one of
Oh yeah,
them.
we'll
Like,
we'll get to all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely like I think it's like they definitely aren't gonna put like a full budget into that anime Path to the Peak thing. So it's
no,
like this is what the best we can do with the money we have. Um, Next up here though, we did have another trailer for Detective Pikachu Returns. It's coming
uh,
October 6th. We already knew that. It's gonna be $50. This is the sequel to the 3DS game. Still kind of weird that like they announced like 7 years ago, 6 years ago, that they were making a sequel, but they also said that they are porting the 3DS version to the Switch, and now they're not doing it at all because I've talked about this multiple times that the first game ends on a cliffhanger. So
yep.
it's like we're just not gonna. I don't know. I mean, obviously they can just like tie it up in like 2 minutes on the thing, but maybe because like the first game was like completely mediocre, that like maybe it's just better that we don't put that out so people will want to buy the new one. I don't know. Um, it's just so funny they keep showing this game, but like they don't actually show like the gameplay of it. And I know it's a mystery game. It's like it's like a um Pokemon like what's the not Ace Attorney. What's yeah like kind of like Ace Attorney I guess. Yeah, you're like trying to solve
It's kind of
crimes.
like a, it's kind of like a Pokemon Professor Layton in some
Yeah,
aspects.
without the puzzles though I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like baby's first mystery puzzle game I guess. I don't know. But that first one was was extremely mediocre. Um, but it's coming out October 6th. I'm sure it's gonna sell well because it's on the Switch and it's a Pokemon game. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I don't even think you never even bothered playing the first one, did you?
No, I had interest in playing it to begin with, but I think you were the one that ended up
Yeah, I bought it.
playing
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu. I didn't have any other interest in going back and wanted to play or try to contest to go for them, try to play the game. And kind of honestly, when I was looking at that trailer, it's like, okay, yeah, I see it, the Detective Pikachu and this and that regards, but nothing really grasps me of wanting to want to play through it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Just if you can, just watch the movie and buy the Detective Pikachu amiibo. Um,
Yeah, honestly, I just watched Detective Pikachu the movie and stuff, and I think I got my good fill of that.
yeah, yeah, it's really good. Um, Moving on here, though, we got a trailer for Pokemon Horizons. That's the new series coming.
Yeah,
It said coming soon. I imagine it's gonna be next year. Typically, I think it's about 9 months to a year behind the base show. It's
yeah.
already going on base show in Japan. Um, it's already going on in Japan. I think it started earlier this year, so that tells me probably early next year. It's a very weird trailer because there was zero sound or like voice acting or anything except for like there was one point where like the Captain Pikachu said Pika. Um, I don't know. As someone that like grew up, we were both at the beginning of Pokemon. Um, I think I fell off the show long before you did. I made it like somewhere into like Gen 3. I kind of fell off of the show, and I've got obviously I've like paid attention. I've tried to like watch stuff here and there since then. Um, like I'm definitely gonna like once the last part of the last section of Ash comes out on Netflix, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and watch that because I want to definitely wrap up that storyline, of my childhood. But I don't know, I might check out the new series when it comes out. Maybe I don't know, like looks fine. I've heard positive things about it, but I don't know. I mean, it's a kids show. So what about you, Gables?
Honestly, Pokemon best like that Pokemon, that Pokemon animated series and stuff. That looked all right. Honestly, I already know the series is still going on in Japan, the episodes obviously being staggered for the release, kind of like how they've always been. The Japanese audience gets the episodes first, then it gets went through and redubbed and stuff like that in English, friggin' 6 months down the line or like a
About a
year.
year, yeah.
But at the same point, I like the art direction that they've shown so far. I think it was kind of, I think that what they were showing though was kind of all right though, but it would kind of be nice to actually not see this so much production inside of this conference. If it was just going to be like a few seconds, sort of like or a few minutes sort of thing, it would have been better off just having on their channel, their main channel, and
Yeah.
just have it that.
It's just one of the things where like they know that like they're gonna have the most eyeballs for this than they would just on their Pokemon YouTube channel itself. So I get it. I just
Yeah,
think yeah, it could have been a better trailer to get us excited for it. But next up here, Pokemon Go is getting Paldea region monsters next month.
yeah,
So they said that we're gonna have a handful coming at launch, including like the starters and stuff. Not surprised there. What's weird is like the last gen, a lot of the Pokemon, there's like the, there's like a whole like I think couple hundred Pokemon that still are not in the game from the previous generations. So it's interesting
yep,
that like they're kind of picky and choosy of what's coming. I get like they don't need to have like maybe like they look at like the garbage Pokemon and the key Pokemon and they're like we don't need to put that in Pokemon Go. But it's very weird. Like they've only like I was reading I guess only like there's not a lot of what that Gen 8 Pokemon that made it into Pokemon Go. So it's
right.
surprising that we're already going on to 9 before you put some more in there. But I don't know. I mean, Pokemon Go is still extremely successful. It's one of the handful of like um, mobile games that still like generate over $1 billion in revenue every year.
Yeah,
So it's still obviously huge for them. So I mean, once again, I get why they're doing it. And they also announced that like the Pokemon Go events going on. I think there's one. It's like it's London, New York, and Tokyo is what they said for the three this year. So um, always like a good time. Like I mean, I think I'd have a great time just going to one of those events. Um, but yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
you going to those events, just picking up like a like just trying to pick up some chicks. Like, hey, you got a Pikachu? I got a couple Pikachu's right here. This one's
I'd
shiny.
like to take a.
Want to trade?
I'd like to take a peek at you. Um, that would be that'd be the only thing I got. Um, and like then they're like, oh okay. I'm like, oh, I've never made it this far before. What? Didn't know it was gonna work.
Good recovery.
Yeah, I got nothing after this. Let me write you a love song. Anyways, sorry. Moving on here. They also announced for NSO here we're getting Pokemon Trading Card Game and Pokemon Stadium 2. Those are out now. I'm super pumped. I've not got a chance to play Pokemon Trading Card Game, but I'm incredibly excited to do so. I've been clamoring for this game for years to finally be able to like buy on like the Switch. Like I played the shit ton of it
Right.
when they put it back. They put it out in the 3DS. Uh, I'm super pumped to play it on my Switch. I one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. Yeah, I'm super pumped for this one. Pokemon Stadium 2, like Gables and I, we talked about the Pokemon Stadium games. Pokemon Stadium 1 was maybe the first like game that I ever played that was like it was probably my first like as a child, like my first like major like life disappointment, Where it's like, oh man, I'm so excited for this thing, and then it just totally let you down. I think Pokemon Stadium is probably in that short list of like first major, like oh, kind of like moments for you. Um, that and the Mortal Kombat Retribution, the sequel movie, we're like both like, wow, this they really fucked this up. So I don't know, like definitely like if I don't have the expansion pack, I have like the base tier of Nintendo Switch Online. But I'm not clamoring to play Pokemon Stadium 2. If I did, it would just be I just want to play the mini games because that's all they're good for. Let's be honest. How you feel about these ones, Gables?
Okay, so this is one of the high points inside this entire Pokemon Direct for me was the stealth announcements. No, just the stealth drops of the same day, like after the presentation of Pokemon Trading Card Game and Pokemon Stadium 2. These both I have been waiting for in terms of trying to play. And obviously, Pokemon Trading Card Game, I wanted to play a little bit more than Stadium 2 because I've never played that one
Huh?
before. And that's just one of those games that, kind of sunk between the creeks and stuff like that, like a sand between the cracks of everything else. But I did play a lot of Pokemon Stadium 2. I actually beat Pokemon Stadium 2 back in the day, but what was kind of hilarious about that is that was with my own team that I
Hmm.
imported from Gold, Silver, and Crystal, and not rental Pokemon only. Because I'll tell you what, that game is difficult if you don't have like
Yeah.
if you don't have your own party and stuff. I mean, both Stadium 1 and Stadium 2 were initially created to involve you importing your party from the games onto that cart so you can go and just have various like attacks and strategies and stuff. Because those Pokemon would be stronger as opposed to the rental Pokemon, which would only have a set amount of things. But it's not impossible to beat these games with rental Pokemon. I mean, I did it with Pokemon Stadium, all with rental Pokemon. Was a pain in the ass, and I haven't gone through round two of the original Pokemon Stadium, nor do I have any desire to do so because of how bullshit the AI is in that game. But Pokemon Stadium 2 even has more difficulty when it comes to certain aspects of it too. But I really love the mini games in Stadium 2. Stadium 2 has some of the best, actually has better mini games in my opinion than the first one. I really love the Pichu, like little mashable game and stuff to where you have to light up specific light things and try to fill up a bar and stuff. And then once you fill up the entire bar, you get to electrocute the other Pichus and stuff inside there. Eager Eevee, where it's like you and like three other people or something just rotating around in a circle trying to collect all the fruit and stuff, and whoever has the most fruit before the end and stuff is the winner. But you got to go forth and trick the other players into trying to fake them out and stuff. Like, for example, on occasion, once that little thing lifts up and stuff, sometimes it'll be a Pineco, which if you hit that thing, like you're gonna be exploded and stuff like that. You get knocked out for a round or two. But other than that, though, it's like the announcements of both Trading Card Game and also Stadium 2 and then the subsequent releases, loved pretty much I pretty much loved that they were announced here and not just randomly put on the Nintendo's with, oh, okay, this is just gonna be go ahead and just dropped on this date or that date, you know. It was a nice surprise, you know, on the same day. They were announced back when like earlier on this year, I think it was that the N64 stuff. When we were getting more N64 stuff
When they announced
from a
Game Boy
previous.
coming to Switch,
Yes,
yeah. Yeah,
yes,
like and that's part of it too, where like it was exciting that like hey, it shadow dropped, but like it was also like we knew the trading card game was coming because it was the only game left of games they
yep.
announced coming to it.
Same thing with Stadium 2. Actually, no, Stadium 2 was one of two. Actually, it was three N64 games that were remaining,
Oh,
because you have this game, and then you have
1080.
1080 snowboarding and Excitebike
Yeah,
64.
that's weird. Why would they save those? Like you think you want to split the two extreme games up? That's weird.
I don't know. I don't know. It's Nintendo.
Yeah, that's good point. Yeah, um, weird Nintendo decisions. Um, Next up here though, uh, Mew and Mewtwo are coming to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I talked about this last week. This kind of like people like kind of figured this out and like leaked it. And there's also they kind of teased it in the graphics when they announced this the presents where the M in Pokemon would like kind of glitch and turn into two M's. So Mew two M's, so Mewtwo. People kind of figured that out. So they announced that if you put a code in the game, you just get a Mew with the mystery gift menu, and then the code is only valid till September 18th. I did not realize that. I should probably should hop up in the game and do that. But
Well, yeah, considering that's probably one of the more rare Pokemon you don't have too much of an opportunity to actually get inside the game other than that weird Pokeball peripheral.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you mean this thing, Gables? This thing right here?
I'm actually surprised you have that right in front of
Gables,
you.
yeah, I got it right here with all my Pokemon Funko Pops I have. It just sits here. I had no Gables. I haven't done anything with. I bought it 5 years ago, and I haven't used it since. Like it's just what else am I supposed to do with it other than it just fucking sits here. Um,
So let's go Pikachu.
yeah, except for Let's Go Pikachu, and then every time they put a Pokemon game out, they put Mew in the Pokeball. Um, and then also on starting September 1st, there is a Mewtwo Terra raid that you can get into. And that only goes on for a few weeks as well. And they did say you get something special if you beat him with a Mew. So
Oh,
no idea what that is. Some people were talking about like it could be Mewtwo like Mega X version might come out of that. I don't know. That was like fan theory, I guess. So, um, yeah, moving on here though. Pokemon Paldean Winds is a new animated web series coming September 6th. This is basically it's another short Pokemon short coming to YouTube that's based on based on kids in the Paldea region going to the school. It's focused on the trainers there. So no other real details on that, but yeah, like I said, the first episode drops September 6th. Gables, I mentioned this when I did the live react, and I love this idea so much. I want it so bad. It's never gonna happen. I know this, but I want Rockstar to make a Bully 2 set in the Paldea region.
And why is that?
I just want to be an asshole at that school.
Just go through with a whole bunch of just random Pokemon. It's like, oh, okay, Machop, let's go through. Let's go chop some
I'm gonna
ankles.
beat the shit out of the teachers and all the other students. I'm gonna throw egg. I'm gonna have my execute, and I'm gonna take his eggs. I'm gonna throw them at other kids. Um, this is what I want to do. I don't know. It just sounds great.
Execute, egg bomb.
Yes, exactly. Gables, tell me you wouldn't play Bully 2 set in the Paldea region.
Actually, that would be pretty entertaining. Especially if I have a whole bunch of random Pokemon that I catch and subsequently just make lives a living hell for other students. That would actually be pretty funny.
You think about when you ride a bike, there's kids, you're at a school. I mean, we're already like 9/10 of the way there to a Bully 2. We used to make a rated M. Um,
Instead of just doing cherry bombs inside the toilet or something like that for a fucking thing, you just put like a fucking like, oh god, what's a Pokemon that actually go through and just do this? Oh, you just have a fucking Charizard or something like that, just play in the toilet or some
Electrode.
shit.
Just put them in the back.
Electra.
You put them in the back. Oh, no, you put a Magnemite in the top shelf, and when the guy sits down to take a shit, you have him doing Thunder Shock.
Or better yet, and stuff, it's like you put a Voltorb inside the toilet, and all of a sudden he just goes to sit down, and all of a sudden something touches something, and it just
Oh
explodes.
god, that'd be great. I love
The
this.
fucking toilet water going
That'd be
everywhere.
great. Gables, I'm all in on this. Back our Kickstarter. Gables and I are gonna make this. Um, our own Bully 2 based on the Paldea region.
Oh my god, dude! All of a sudden, you just see the dude just go shooting out in the top or something like that. It's just like,
Kid walks to the bathroom, there's just another kid stuck in the ceiling. It's great. Man, we should have been game developers. What are we doing?
People tore the toilet.
Yeah. Oh man, I love this idea. But last, but I don't want to say certainly not least, but we finally got some extended looks here at the expansions. We got Teal Mask. We finally got a date on September 13th. Um,
Yes.
so we have that part coming, and we have the second part coming. Um, what is that called? Blue, blue, blue shell? No. God damn it.
Not Blush. It's actually called, I think, the Indigo Disc.
Indigo Disc. Thank you. It is not here in the write up. Sorry. But yeah. So Indigo Disc. We got some reveals on that one. We got some more details. Gables, I mentioned this when I did the live react, that you are the measuring stick of how excited I should be for Pokemon. So you tell me, coming off of this, you're the person you bought Sword and Shield DLC. I mentioned it on the live react I did that you played the first one, you seemed to like that one quite a bit, and you never even went around, you never got back to even playing the second part. I feel like you kind of like didn't like you were kind of lukewarm on going back to it. Um, I think both of us were. It's fair to say were, even though there's a lot of things we liked and loved about um, Scarlet and Violet, we came away. It's fair to say pretty disappointed overall about some of the kind of more so how it ran and just things like that in the game. Um, but like I've talked about, like they've done zero patches to the game to make it run better. They've even not even mentioned the game's issues, and now on top of that, they're asking us to pay them additional $30 to play more of this game. Um, so for me, it's hard for me to justify doing that, especially in September, coming out a week after Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3. I'm sorry, what? But um, I'm the guy. I play the Pokemon games for the nostalgia more so than anything else. Like
Yes.
my overall love for Pokemon, playing the games. But I'm curious. Like I said, you are my measuring stick when it comes to Pokemon games. How are you feeling about this DLC so far?
Okay, so before I get into that, though, let me correct you on something, though. It is correct, though, that it took me a long while to actually go forth and go back to Scarlet and not Scarlet and Violet, but like Sword and Shield's DLC, the second portion of it, because yeah, after going through and beating Pokemon Sword and then going through like the that Isle that Isle DLC and stuff, basically where you got the Cub Fu and all this other shit, that was fine, but at the same time, it really wasn't didn't really satisfy me in terms of the quality in regards to like a Pokemon expansion in that regards. But the Crown Tundra, I did go back to. I did beat that, and I did get like the special horse and stuff
Okay.
that was the one of the. There was two legendary horses and stuff you could get with Calyrex or something like that. The main legendary Pokemon and stuff that was involved inside that. But I like that DLC actually more so than the first one. And actually, the reason why I bring this up though is because when it came to the presentation of both DLCs right here, right? Like, oh my god, the Indigo Disc being the second
Teal
one, then
Mask.
the first Teal Mask being the first one. Thank you. Yeah, it's just trying to remember all these freaking names and stuff like that for Pokemon expansions. But the Teal Mask itself, after looking at it a little bit extensively, there were just some interesting aspects of it. I think the most I got out of both of these DLCs from what I watched from that pretty much that 5 minute trailer showcasing all this other stuff was there are certain characters, certain plays in regards to comparisons in the first DLC between the story of Momotaro, which is like basically a kid like having like entrusted with like these three other deities or something like that, or like these three other gods, I should say, go through and like save the town and stuff from like the ogre or something like that. There are some characters in there that just look kind of interesting in sort of not just like good character design things, but in terms of like various like importance. The reason why I bring up characters of various importance is because this kind of ties into some of the rumors that were talked about both the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc going into this Pokemon Direct. Whereas one of the things is one of the riddles actually from Riddler Coup, one of the predominant leakers and stuff, was talking about, oh hey, this DLC and stuff's gonna pander to a specific generation and stuff like that. And he listed four options. But two out of the four I thought were kind of plausible, Galar and Unova. And out of that, Galar was actually pandered to quite a bit inside of this DLC stuff because we had certain Pokemon that were gone through and showcased that were brand new Pokemon, mind you. There was an evolved form of Applin, which is called Diplin, a candy apple, right?
I
So
hate
that's
that
one.
entire sentence you just said to me, Gales. I hate the whole thing. And you somehow you
I
almost
know.
made it through with a straight face. You could you, only,
I know.
yeah. Go ahead though. I'm sorry.
Well, I understand, man, but at the same point, what I'm trying to get at is like there was definitely a lot of pandering to Galar in regards to both the Teal Mask and also for like the Indigo Disc for some aspects. I mean, obviously that from like Apple and the Diplin, the new evolution and stuff, but also in terms of the other evolution that was showcased right here, and this is probably one of the more important ones right here. From Galar, you had the dragon type, like dragon steel type, I believe it was Duraludon, and then it has its evolution here, like Irrelodon or Archaludon, I think his name is. And so, basically, why this evolution is so important, it ties into another sort of thing that they're kind of hinting at the Pokemon Company, because what they're hinting at is more like Unova, sort of like involvement. The other rumor that was pertaining to go into this is like they are teasing portions of like their next possible game that they're working on, and rumors are going around that it could be something and it relates to either something Generation 5 related, either it be like a Legends Q-Rim or like a remaster of like the Pokemon Black or Pokemon White, or even like full on sequels. We don't know, but at the same time is there were a bunch of different references to Generation 5 stuff. Archaludon, it is a bridge. It's a bridge dragon, quintessentially, right? And why that's important is in Generation 5, there's predominant uses of like bridges inside this game. that region is based pretty much of like the USA
Yeah,
of America. That region.
that's why there's a trash Pokemon.
Yeah, that's basically why there's like Pokemon that are more reminiscent to like more American theme. But it was just kind of hilarious though, trash bag Pokemon. But yeah, you have the different type of bridges and stuff that you had to travel around and stuff as a character in Pokemon Black and Pokemon White and stuff. But you have references to that, and also to bring up something that I talked about before going into this little tangent, characters. There is a character inside of the Indigo Disc that is actually reminds me so much of one of the gym leaders from Pokemon Black and Pokemon White. Like the gym leader in general is Drayden and stuff. He's a dragon type gym leader inside of those games. Inside of this new Indigo Destiny, you have a character called Drayton, who also uses dragon type Pokemon, right? Archaladon and stuff, both of which are kind of like references in terms of those Generation 5 games. But yes, for those different types of references and those different types of things, though, I mean, that's what kind of made things a little bit more interesting to me because in general, these trailers and stuff, they did all right in terms of like presenting what certain players wanted to see. It does kind of piss me off that there was no mention of any type of like say updates for stability or like anything in regards to like addressing things in general about how bad the performance is for Scarlet and Violet. But at the same point, other than what I've mentioned so far, the new Paradox Pokemon actually look pretty fun, pretty freaking cool in my opinion, dude. You have Raging Bolt, which is the Paradox Pokemon for Raikou from Generation 2, which he basically looks like a Brontosaurus sort of because it's like he has a tall neck and his mane almost makes it look like it's like a storm cloud. And that is supposed to be reminiscent of like a primal, so like past and stuff like that. Kind of similar to what they did with the Suicune's Paradox Pokemon stuff like that. But the other one is like a the Paradox form of Cobalion from Generation 5. There's another hint of another reference and stuff. Whereas it's more like a futuristic sort of like it almost kind of reminds me of like not like a motorcycle, but it just reminds me of like just kind of a crazy sort of like futuristic type of version of this Pokemon, kind of similar to that of Virizion for the first, the from what they did with their own like terror raids and stuff. But from what I've seen and from what the character references and this and that, I mean, it makes me kind of excited to actually want to try out like the teal mask and the indigo disc. However, I am getting the same type of vibes as when I went through and tried to play like the Galar DLC from like Pokemon Sword and Shield, to where I feel like the second expansion is going to be the more substantial one than say the first. Not to say that the first one's going to be bad, but what I'm saying is a lot more interesting stuff we're probably going to find inside the second expansion because not only were we seeing hints of other Generation 5 stuff to be presented, but it also ties into one last rumor I want to bring up that was also brought up by Riddler Coup is there will be an important character inside this expansion that's going to tie into the next Pokemon games. So I'm curious to see if it is one of the characters we saw during that initial Pokemon Direct or if it's someone new entirely. Hell, I didn't even mention like the one of the other characters that kind of looks sort of important. Her name was Bria or something of that sort. Basically, she's sort of like a teacher or something, like a new teacher that like takes the students on a trip or something like that to I think Kitakami in general, that the
Okay.
first expansion stuff. But so for the Scarlet and Violet stuff, I thought it was okay. I'm kind of bummed that they didn't show more than what they did because it was only like 5 minutes long. And here you have next month is the first expansion launch for the Teal Mask.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts though in terms of the Scarlet and Violet stuff?
Uh, it's gonna take a lot to like really convince me to want to play this thing
Yes.
after coming off of Scarlet and Violet. Like we talked about a lot last year, where it's
Uh
like
huh.
there's so much things I love about that game, but it's so like so frustrating to play, and visually I just hate looking at it because it's so poorly ran. It just looks incredibly bland, especially coming off of Legends Arceus to this. It's just like night and day, the art style. Um, so
You
it's
could
hard for me.
tell, yeah, you could tell what effort was, what how much effort they put into one over the other.
Well, I think it was more so not so much the effort, but it was like we have to like lower the graphics to like make this thing run better,
Yes.
type of thing. Where it's like, and that was like the thing where it's like, well, we can, we gotta make it look worse, but make it run better. And somehow Legends Arceus ran better and also looked much better. Um, and Arceus had a lot of problems on top of that. I mean, I'm not even, there was issues there, but
They weren't as
um,
noticeable as Scarlet and
no,
Violet.
or like they just were nowhere near as frequent. And I mean, obviously, like Arceus is a much is focused more on kind of like open areas that are not a lot in them compared to this game, but Scarlet Violet. But yeah, like I said, it's not to go back down that road. But it's just it's good. It was gonna take a lot to like get me excited for. I'm coming in like a very negative place about that game, and it's just like I really need you to like go over the top and sell me on this.
Yeah.
And coming out, it's like I said, it's a 35-minute presents. I was the first like what 25 minutes or so was just a lot of filler stuff, which I get. Like you got to show us this stuff because we give us the appetizer because we're here. We're just really here for the main course.
Hmm.
It's like a timeshare where it's like we got to sit through the 2 hour presentation, but we're really just here for the free weekend type of thing.
Yes.
Uh, and I'm like, that's what I was here for, and that's what I think most people are here for. And but it was like, man, it was 2/3 of that thing was just shit I didn't care about. Um, and then you give us this, and then a trailer that doesn't really give us a lot either. I feel like
No.
didn't fill in a lot of gaps like what we're doing here. Like give us a little bit like I does definitely does look like though like you look at really Nintendo as a whole. With I've talked about a lot where I know I'm not Game Freak and Pokemon are not owned by Nintendo 100%. I know that, but you look at like on the Switch since they've been doing the all of the DLC content, everything is always built around like you have to buy the whole thing, and you're buying the thing for the last content. Like everything else is just like
Hmm.
extra missions, challenge packs, stuff like that that you really don't care for that much to get to the main course, which is the last pack. And that when you look at that, like you look at Teal Mask, it looks like it's just like it's definitely already stuff that's based in the world they've built so far. It's
Right.
based like an extra little side mission you can do. And then when you get the Indigo Disc, probably December or early next year, that is like here's a whole new area. But and like it looks like they have their whole own like Final Four. Like that part kind of intrigues me, honestly. But like I said, I'm
I
coming in
will.
from a. Go ahead.
I will say one thing that does intrigue me, and that was the final portion that they did reveal, and that was the hidden treasure of Area Zero.
Yeah, yeah,
That was the continuation of the main story that was never fully addressed
yeah,
because went inside of Area Zero, you went through and you gone through, you encountered all these paradox Pokemon, you pretty much face off against like a fucking AI and stuff like that you think is somebody else and stuff like that. But at the end, we never truly got the conclusion of that story in general. Like, what was the hidden treasure of Area Zero? Like, why are these paradox Pokemon even freaking here? You know, because what they gave for like an explanation for that is like they're pulling them out of like random portions of the past and stuff, and here they
yeah.
are coming into the present or into the future or something like that. You're pulling them back to the present or some shit like that. So, what's fascinating about this last tidbit and stuff like that is there are a lot of things they can go and do with that storyline, but at the same point, that's probably the most intriguing like last DLC thing that they're probably going to be doing with this thing to tie everything all up with Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, yeah. I think we'll get this, and then maybe it will like tease Gen 5 stuff, and then Pokemon Day next year we'll get like Gen 5 announcements. Is what I'm expecting. Um, I don't know. I'm still just kind of in a kind of a more especially coming out. It's crazy to me. I'm coming off of Legends Arceus where I was,
Huh?
you know, I mean this time last year I was like on a high still from Legends Arceus and super pumped for Scarlet and Violet, and now here I am. I'm like I don't know. Like I'm just kind of probably the lowest I've been on Pokemon since I've kind of come back into the Pokemon world. In 10 years since with X and Y 2013. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be man like I don't know like they own my childhood, so it's like it's hard for me to say I'm out completely, but it is I definitely just want to be like deuces oos out type of moment here for me. But I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But I don't know. Like I said, Gibbles. Like overall though, like do you think this will be a day one buy for you?
Will this be a day one buy for me?
Teal Mask, I mean.
Yes, I feel like it will be a day one
Okay.
buy for me. Not just because I'm a Pokemon fan, mind you, but I'm legitimately curious in regards to what things that they have hidden inside this DLC. I'm not sure what they'll do for like improving performance by Nintendo's side of
I
things.
don't think they will
I'm
at this point.
At this point they didn't do any type of substantial really updates for Sword and Shield when that one was out and about, so I firmly do not expect them to do a final patchwork or something like that for major issues for Scarlet and Violet now. But like I've stated, I am fairly curious to see what the teal mask will lead to. But yeah, I definitely would probably buy a day one.
Okay. All right. Well. Okay. Well, let's move on here, Gables, to another topic we got here. Give me 1 second as I'm typing. We got Gables. We got the June MPDs. So
Okay.
a little late for the normal. They got delayed a couple weeks from Circana, but I'm still gonna call them the MPDs. And then they came in last week, but we had a bunch of other stuff to talk about. We just didn't get around to it.
Yes.
So let's get into it. It's one of my favorite things to talk about every month, Gables. Let's just jump into it here. We got the top 20 games. This is based off of not units sold, but money earned.
Okay.
Top 20 games from June of this year. So we're gonna start off hot here, Gables. Number 20, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Okay.
Number 19, Resident Evil 4. Uh, Dropped all the way down from number 9 the previous month. Number 18, God of War Ragnarok, staying pretty flat. Number 17, Gables, brand new game. Well, kind of a brand new. It's a remake of a brand new game.
Hmm.
Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, formerly known as Harvest Moon. It's a remake of the GameCube game.
Oh.
Very weird. Just jumping in number 17 there. Um, Number 16 here, Elden Ring. Uh,
Okay.
Number 15, another brand new game here from EA, F123. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I forgot they actually bought the studio that makes that game. Number 14, as you know, it's all reliable here, Minecraft. Still
Yep.
always in the teens somewhere. Number 13, a major drop from number 4 the previous month, Dead Island 2, but it's been on the market now for a few months at this point. So it makes sense. We get some brand. We got 5 brand new games on the list this month. The top 3 are all brand new games in the month of June.
Okay.
Sure, Gables will be able to figure them out when he thinks about it. Number 12 here, Mario Kart 8. Finally jumping on the
Yes.
top 10 here. Number 11, FIFA 23. Kind of a drop down, but you got to think, in June we're getting closer and closer to the new, was it FC, uh, EAFC, I think it was called, the new football club. I believe
Yep.
that's what they're calling it now. Um, Number 10, jumping all the way back in from 24, Marvel Spider-Man. Uh,
Hmm.
Imagine there must have been like some PC sale or something going on, maybe some Steam. Oh, June, end of May, we had the um, Pokemon or no PlayStation
You had a PlayStation showcase that was
Showcase.
going on.
Thank you. Yes. So this makes sense. That's when they revealed the Spider-Man 2 gameplay. So we
Hmm.
had that number. We had Spider-Man number 10. Miles Morales is number 9, away from 31. So
Hmm.
that makes sense. So it's getting a big boost there from that. Number 8, MLB The Show 2023. Number 7, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Number
Right.
5, Hogwarts Legacy dropping down from 2. Jumping down from
Okay.
number 1, for the last 2 months, for the last month. Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda there.
Okay.
And Gables, the top three are all brand new games.
Okay.
What were the three big games that came out in June?
All right. So three big games that came out in June. The number one thing I can think of is Street Fighter 6.
Number three.
Okay, that's number three. Let's see. Trying to think of what other games that released in June now. I mean,
The
it's
other one of them I beat.
okay. One of them you beat.
Talked about a lot for like a month straight. Took me like 70 hours to beat.
I see. So Final Fantasy 16 is probably
Number
the next.
two. Number one, neither one of us have played,
Okay, so neither one of us have played this
but it's a
game.
huge game
Okay.
made by the Overwatch 2 people.
Oh, that's right. It's Diablo 4.
Exactly. Yes. Number three, Street Fighter 6. Number two, Final Fantasy 16. Number one, Diablo 4. So
Ah, yes.
makes sense here. Kind of chalk for what we're expecting, but I don't know. It's kind of I always find it kind of fun when you look and see um, you just see like the random games jump up like Miles Morales and Spider Man jumping in both into the top 10 in June. We got the three brand new games coming out, all taking the 1, 2, 3 spot. Um, just Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life, making the top 20. Maybe one of the most shocking top 20 games to me so far. Um,
Of the year.
yeah, maybe ever, honestly. But I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking about this list here?
Honestly, the list itself, other than like the major surprise, obviously, with that Story of Seasons game, but other than that, though, it's really refreshing seeing top three not being sports games in any sort. Where it's like in years past you'd have like okay, maybe a basketball game, maybe like a football game or this or that, but at the same point you have Diablo 4, you have freaking Final Fantasy 16, then you have Street Fighter 6. The similarity between all three of these is like it's some form of an RPG.
Yeah,
With the Street Fighter 6, obviously the main story mode is quintessentially you exploring like oh fuck, what do they call that city? It's not New York, it's another type of like city. Oh god. Basically the Street Fighter 6 single player is sort of like an action RPG in some
Metro.
aspects. Metro City, that's right. So it's Metro City. But yeah, I'm very happy that I've had a chance to at least play a bit like two out of those three for the top thing. Holding off on Diablo 4 for now because I do not need a large, majorly chunking RPG. Not to the end of the year. Anyway, but yeah, I'm really actually surprised with what we had inside this list for the MPDs inside of June. But other than that, though, I'm really curious to see how July is going to be.
Yeah, I mean July's kind of I don't think anything like Pikmin came out in July.
Yeah,
I don't think anything else big came out in July that I could think of off the top of my head. Uh, Feels so
that's why I'm
long.
kind of curious because there's other than like say, wait, did AEW Fight Forever? When did
That
that
was
release?
June 29th. So
That was June 29th. So
so
yeah, I'm kind of interested
could
in seeing what that places in July.
yeah, it could be one of those things where it's like all the sales were like it sold a lot in pre-orders, so it's like yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it's not on the list though, or if it's like the bottom of the top 20 list. I hope it'd be in there because it'd be awesome for that game. I hope that game is successful for them. Um, but yeah, I mean, sometimes there's like it's always awesome to see like a lot of new games, especially when like June was incredibly stacked to see where those games land.
Yes,
Especially with Final Fantasy 16 being a PS5 exclusive, being number two is pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, like I mean, yeah, we look at like I'm actually interested. I think we should get July. I think next week here. But like it's kind of fun sometimes when we see those months where it's like not a lot comes out and see like how games sell and like what we're looking at for that month. So yeah, pretty cool little month there. Yeah, I think like I said, I think we should be getting next week's or I think this next week we should be talking about um, for July. But Gables, let's move on to some other news this week. Um, Red Dead Redemption. We've been talking about. There's been a lot of leaks about possibly being there was like they got raided in South Korea, which always means like usually
uh-huh.
something's coming soon from them. There was like someone found on the back end of the website the Take Two or no the Rockstar website found a new Red Dead Redemption logo. Well, Gables, they finally revealed it right before they did their quarterly report. Take Two did. they announced Red Dead Redemption is, well, it's not getting a remake, Gables. It's not even getting a remaster. It's getting a port. They're porting the game to PS4 and Switch, not even PS5 or anything like that. The game is backwards compatible on the Xbox already, but they announced it's coming August 17th for $50. The game will include the Undead Nightmare DLC. It will not have the multiplayer, um, and it still runs at 30 frames per second. So they literally just literally did the bare minimum to put this game on PS4 and on Switch. Um, and the CEO came out and he said this is commercially accurate, the price, defending which obviously he's the CEO of the company. Of course he's going to say that. He's not going to like, yeah, no, we're really just trying to this is a money play. He's not going to say that obviously. So I don't know. Like I I'm not a Red Dead Redemption guy. I played it. I own it digitally on my. I bought it on 360 back in the day. I do own it. Um,
Mm.
you can buy the on 360 for I think $30, or if you want to, you can find a disc out there probably for much cheaper. So if you own like an Xbox Series X or an Xbox One, you could just buy a disc for probably less than $10 and just literally buy the exact same version that they're selling for people to fit for $50. Um, yeah, this is pretty crazy, but I mean, it's from the studio that gave us that GTA trilogy remaster last year. So,
Yes.
how you feeling, Gables?
Obviously pissed and disappointed with this regardless, because I did play through the entirety of Red Dead Redemption. That was a fantastic game from beginning to end. The story mode stuff was fun. But here's the thing though. They did bare minimum to port this from what they've had initially onto the PS4 and the Switch. No mention of PC whatsoever. That is of importance though, because you're ignoring an entire fucking fan base that played like our Red Dead Redemption 2, I believe, on Steam as well. But here's the thing though, not even a version for PS5, not even like a version for Steam in that regards. Even with like the Xbox 360 version and stuff like that, you can still update it to like 4K and all this other stuff with the freaking next generation like update and stuff, because you know how Microsoft has done with some of these older games and stuff, you have that option to upgrade to have it in higher fidelity. And like, I'm not sure about the frame rate though. I mean, I haven't personally checked into it, but I got a copy of Red Dead Redemption for my Xbox Series X here, so I'm probably gonna be plugging that one in and just seeing how much of a difference here, because there's a couple of questions I have in mind about this. One, is the entire game going to be on a card for the Switch? Are parts of it going to be downloadable only? Like, will this actually include the multiplayer portion of Red Dead Redemption, to where you basically went online and stuff like that? You met with a couple of like people or something and just basically just played freaking outlaws and stuff with all these other people, just do a lot of random bullshit. But what's going to be interesting though is like, how is it going to run technically on like say PS4 and on Switch as well, and especially with Switch, because like I've stated before, if they try to include everything, I basically hope everything is on a fucking game card and not like say half online and stuff and then like half on the card or something like that, because that's how some developers like lazily go through and do things on the Switch, whereas they don't want to put the entire game like on the card itself. You'll have to download certain portions, or in some developers' cases, let's just do a complete cloud streaming version and stuff, and just completely just shit on everything with Nintendo Switches
Yeah.
online.
Well, that's not like a developer. It's like that is a businessman. That's like this is what we're gonna do. I think this
Uh,
isn't on the developer type of thing. But
right.
to answer your question, this is not the multiplayer. This is just Undead Nightmare and the main game.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the online stuff. That's kind of a shame though, because even with like the older games and stuff, you can actually, I think you can actually still play the online stuff for that. I think.
Yeah, I guess I can look that up real fast here.
I'm not sure because it's been a long time. So I know that thing had multiplayer to begin with, but I'm not sure if it's still online or open. I think I'm not sure, but it probably got closed a long while ago.
Um, still active. I'm looking it up right now. God, why is it so hard sometimes to ask Google a question?
I know.
No, they turned it off last year.
Oh wow. So
So
yeah,
there's a
this is even
Well,
more.
okay, so there's a Polygon article from September 4th, 2022. A fond farewell to Red Dead Online has reached its end of its lifespan. Yeah, so it's offline now. So that makes sense, I guess, why they're not doing that.
Okay. So that's really crazy how they closed it last year and now they're porting versions and stuff to where it doesn't even have the complete sort of thing to it, you know. I mean, granted, the original Red Dead Redemption's online really wasn't like as maybe not as great as say like what Red Dead Redemption 2 what they went through and did with that sort of stuff from even with like the whole neglecting of some bits of their community stuff. But honestly, I'm happy that Red Dead Redemption is coming to more consoles. However, this is probably the shittiest way you could have actually have done this because not only are you alienating the users on platforms that are not getting it, but now you're pretty much putting out like a untouched sort of a gimped version or something like that because you don't want to spend the extra effort in refurbishing it for the other systems.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like somebody high up was like, we want to make some money. Let's do this.
Hmm.
They also announced that like they've had kind of two kind of lower end months Take Two has the last couple of years now, or last couple of quarters. I mean, that's because they just haven't put a lot of new stuff out. Like they have like obviously have like 2K.
Yep.
Um, NBA 2K is always a big success for them, but like, um, you know, GTA 5 online is still extremely successful for them, but they haven't
I
had
know.
the next big thing. So there's been a lot of hubbub about possibly getting GTA 6 between April of next year and May or March 31st, 2025. Uh,
Yeah,
but
good luck with that.
yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. Awesome. But whatever on that. But I did look up Gables. If you want to buy Red Dead Redemption, you can buy it right now for $4.90. And then if you want the Undead Nightmares, you can get it for about $10. So
Yep.
if you have an Xbox One or Series X and you want to play literally the exact same version of this game, you can for less than $15 just buy them a physical copy of version of those. So
Right.
yeah, so pretty crazy on that end. Next up here, Gables, Devolver Digital had their Devolver delayed. Where literally they just tried to, they basically just made a Nintendo Direct, but they tried to make it, they got it as close as they could to a Direct without getting sued by Nintendo. Um, which I wouldn't be shocked if they still tried to sue them for this. They called somebody like, "Can we sue them for this?" Um, but some of the stuff here that they mentioned that is called Devolver Delayed. It was like 3 minute long video. They announced that 5 games are getting delayed to next year. The Plucky
Yep.
Squire, Skate
Yep.
Story, Angerfoot, Stick It to the Stickman, and Pepper Grinder all coming next year. And like it was actually really funny. The video was where like they said in like a super like positive high pitched voice like 2024 is now getting better, and like they tried to like totally like, turn it into a positive type of thing, which very funny. They did like the graphics of a Nintendo Direct. They had like it sounded like the exact same person that does the voiceovers for Nintendo Direct do it. Um, but they did confirm that games like Gunbrella, there was another game too that was also coming this year. Oh, Talos Principle is coming this year. We're getting DLC for Cult of the Lamb as well. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Not too much to add on that one. Like I said, it's a 3 minute long video. Devolver, just being Devolver, it will never not be awesome. And for selfishly, for my fantasy critic league, I am pretty pumped that Plucky Squires got delayed. Really needed Gunbrella to be delayed as well. That would have been great. But hey, Gables 2023, we've been talking about a lot. This year is pretty fucking crazy for game releases.
Absolutely.
So somehow like August has turned into my indie month of like I'm just basically catching up on indie games that came out this year. So pretty much anything that comes out post Starfield, that's that's not a big major game. I don't know if I'll be able to play you this year. So Um, moving as many things to 2024 is a good thing. What about you, Gables?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it as well. Well, with this whole thing and stuff, I can understand why they delayed those games the next year. But at the same point, though, it is kind of funny they did it in a way to where it's like, not only is it super positive and stuff like that, but at the same point, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Take the time you need. I'm still expecting Umbrella to be a good game, so
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think all those games will be good. It's just yeah, like, I want to play these games, but it's like I definitely don't want them to get lost in the shuffle. Um, next up here though, we had the THQ Nordic showcase. Um, it was like 25 minutes long, wasn't too bad, but most of it you could just kind of skip over it. Like THQ Nordic is like living up to the name of THQ, where they're just putting out a lot of B games and C games. Um, but some of the major stuff that was announced in this Gables, we got South Park Snow Day. It is a
yeah,
3D South Park game. It is a co-op multiplayer game coming to all the consoles and PC. Said next year. Looks like a I don't know if it's like a MOBA. Like there's only like a handful, like what 5 6 seconds of gameplay, where you're like throwing snowballs and stuff at people, at their kids, and yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if it's a MOBA. Is it a battle royale game? What the fuck is this game supposed to be? But like I said, we only got a few seconds of gameplay. But I was telling you for the podcast skills, it's like the Simpsons Monkey Paw, where it's like I just
hmm
want another South Park game, and this is what we get. And it's like especially hard where like we had two really good South Park games come out last generation,
yes,
and then we get this one. So I don't know. You saw it. What'd you
it
think?
it definitely gives me a vibes of like South Park games of years past and stuff like that, to where it's like the idea, is kind of like a novelty or something like that, but maybe not so much as like going through the execution of it. I'm thinking about like the original South Park for like the N64 and like the freaking PlayStation, to where those games were kind of like, oh, okay, South Park is getting its own licensed game, this and that and stuff like that, to where it wasn't so substantial in terms of the gameplay. It was
Yeah.
more so about, oh, ha ha ha, hey, all these references to the original South Park. But from the game, from what we saw from that trailer, it looks like one of those uh, like repetitive sort of like online multiplayer type of games. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like a free to play game or something where you need to pay some sort of microtransaction shit for like live service stuff.
Which
But
honestly would be better than being like a $50 game that
oh, absolutely.
requires
If
the
this is a
same.
$50 game, it's not gonna be that popular for
Yeah.
that type of stuff. But yeah, when it comes to the whole the monkey's paw and stuff like that, I mean, granted, people wanted to see another South Park game be done, but here it is from THQ Nordic. It's a 3D South Park game with online multiplayer components and stuff that looks sort of like a clone of another few free to play kind of like multiplayer games. So,
Yeah. Um, yeah. If like you mentioned, if like we never got Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole, a part of me would be excited for this. But yeah, yeah. After those coming off of those to get to this, it's just kind of meh.
meh.
Yeah. Um, last up here though, really to talk about is TMNT: The Last Ronin. They actually they announced this last year that it was in development. It is based off of a very popular comic book series from in 2020, but it is being announced. It's being made by Black Forest Games, who did the remakes for Destroy All Humans 1 and 2. So yeah, I don't know. I mentioned this at the time. They did mention that like God of War 2018 was like what they were using as like their inspiration for this. Um,
Huh.
and like I don't think this will be like a best game of all time or game of the year type of contender coming from THQ Nordic, but like if it could just be like an 8 out of 10, that's all I'm asking for here. Like just be good, like have good quality, good combat. Let's be fun enough, and just follow the storyline. Like I don't know, I know it's like one of the things that's like very hyped up from TMNT over the years, over the last 20 years or so. Um, and like I don't know like the story spoilers of it, but I've only heard good things about it. So I just want this thing to just be good. That's all I'm hoping for.
I
It's
know.
just be good. What about you?
Yeah, sort of similar to that. I want this thing to be a good game as well. Even if they go through and do like if they aim for like say half of the quality in terms of like what God of War Ragnarok is and stuff like that,
Yeah.
then that would still be a great game in and
Yeah.
of itself. I mean, I am excited because the source material, it's more of an adult theme like TMNT sort of game, but at the same time, you're left with a lot of mysterious intrigue and stuff. I'm kind of curious about the action stuff. We only saw little bits of tidbits and stuff, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what else they show in terms of combat.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. That's one of those ones I can't wait for gameplay on.
That's gonna make or break this game for me.
Yeah. Next up here though, Stalker 2. Looks like it's coming out December 1st. That'll be at Gamescom later this year. That's
Okay.
one of those. It's a studio that's based out of Ukraine that it's been delayed. It's supposed to come out last April, and then obviously the war happened in Ukraine. Multiple employees of theirs were killed in combat, and
Yes.
so it's been delayed forever. And then like Russian hackers uh, hacked their studio and like really held them up for ransom basically. So they've had a hell of a time the last year and a
They've endured
half.
a lot of shit.
Yes, they've dealt with a lot of bullshit. But they did announce that Gamescom the game will be available, and it looks like on the back end there are some leaks, and it's coming out December 1st. That's also gonna be a Game Pass game day one. Um,
Ooh, okay.
yeah, the game looks really cool if from the gameplay we've seen over the last couple of years. But yeah, just want to point that out to people. And last but not least here, Gables. Well, maybe actually least here. Street Fighter Six. You sent me a message, I think Sunday night about, hey, dude, they just announced TMNT is coming to Street Fighter Six. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna have to buy this game. And then later on, I found out, oh no, it's just
Your
skins.
character skins.
And then I just found then later on I found out they're $60 for these skins.
Exactly. Here's the thing about it, dude. It's like people were so excited about this TMNT crossover because they have these costumes that are going to be coming into Street Fighter 6 in terms of the tie-in and stuff between Nickelodeon stuff and then Capcom and stuff. So I think that because of the licensing stuff that they had to go through and try to like price it this high in that regards, but I feel like this totally screwed the pooch of like any type of like relativity and not just relativity, but in terms of anybody really wanting to do like future sort of deals and stuff. Now I'm really kind of concerned personally because like what happens if they get like other franchises and stuff? Are they like really gonna go forth and do like $15 or $20 skins and stuff like that for things? Because here's the thing, all four of those turtles, if you went through and you bought the equivalent to what that like that currency system they got going and stuff like that, you would be spending in total like about $60, maybe even more, because it's $15 for a TMNT costume. For the little accessories or something, it's more like about five, I think, like around $5 just for like a little headband and this and that for your creative character. But granted, yeah, you don't have to go forth and involve itself and stuff. But at the same point, this is the type of material I kind of agree with Maximilian Dude on, to where it's like if you want more people to go forth and like participate in this type of promotion and get people so hyped, not just in terms of having TMNT costumes, but having this stuff with anything turtles related to where you can enjoy with a mass amount of people, you want to make the entry point a little bit lower in terms of getting everybody in instead of just a select few that want to spend that much in order to get that stuff. Because it looks like literally, hey, if you have money, go forth and buy these costumes and stuff like that. So that way, let's distribute who's the whales who are not.
Yeah. Well, somebody else pointed out that Injustice 2 they had the TMNT
Yep,
turtles in there, and for the whole kit and caboodle, it was $10.
yep, it was ten
And
dollars.
that wasn't even a skin. That was an actual fighter. You're getting an actual
Yep.
character. So it is pretty incredible where we're at now with that. But yeah, pretty disappointing. I went from like I'm gonna have to buy this game now to never
Oh
mind.
fuck this.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Never mind. I don't need to. But let's move on. Gables, what we've been playing. Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first this time
Okay.
because I can make this one kind of short and sweet right here. So I've been playing a hodgepodge of different games, a couple of which have been from the NSO. One of them was the Pokemon trading card game, the Game Boy game and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I have interest in playing it because I've never played it. I'm still trying to get my bearings in regards to it. I kind of know the basics of the Pokemon trading card game and stuff. The whole aspect is trying to get into a pattern of okay, which trainers am I going to go forth and beat first before I can initially go and make a comparable deck so that way I can face the other trainers and stuff. Because currently I understand that the format of this is like you basically have a 60 card deck. You cannot have less than 60 cards, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, in that regards and stuff, the major issue I'm having currently right now is trying to make this deck fast enough to where I need the cards, so I can get the cards that I need. So trying to figure out that problem is I need to find which trainer actually gives certain cards that is going to make this deck faster. And what I'm talking about is like drawing specific cards or something like that, or like have like multiple different copies of like one Pokemon, because I think you can have like maybe a max of three Pokemon at a time or something, like a specific Pokemon. So, for example, the base deck that I chose was like a Squirtle and Friends and stuff, because I kind of like the Squirtle and the Water type Pokemon stuff, especially with Blastoise's ability. But there's also some mixture of other types of like Pokemon with it. So what I've been doing right now is I've been beating a bunch of the practice trainer and stuff, because he's giving me booster packs of like the elemental cards and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna need plenty of these elemental cards and stuff when I go through and create another deck, or like try to like modify this current deck with what I want. But I think I've spent mostly like about an hour playing like the Pokemon trading card game, trying to get used to things. Because when I went through and tried to battle some of the other like trading card like masters and stuff like that, or even like trainers that were there that have like stronger decks, yeah, I would get my ass kicked because I didn't have the proper tools available, so I could make this deck faster, have the right Pokemon, so I can create a good cohesive sort of flow. Like, I know that back when the Pokemon trading card game first came out and stuff, they wanted like an emphasis of two different types to try to fuse into like one deck, so that way you'll have plenty of creatures and stuff that you can put in play or on the bench or something like that, but at the same time you're not mixing up all these different types and stuff to try to make it slow as possible. But I played that. I played maybe like a few hours of Pokemon Stadium 2. I have played through the individual mini games, and I still love playing through those mini games like I did back when I was a teenager. Oh my gosh. One of my favorites still has to be in regards to like Eager Eevee, and then like the Dawn Fan Run one is pretty hilarious. But yeah, the mini games are still fun as hell. Well, yeah, my absolute favorite mini game of that whole thing is like the preciseness in terms of like a cutting the wood is either as a scyther or a pincer, because it's basically you're in this competition, right, to where you have four Pokemon, either a scyther or a pincer or whichever combination, and basically you have to be precise in terms of cutting the piece of wood. And so when this log falls down, you have to cut it where the line is. Back in the day, I used to perfect those type of things, so it's like kind of crazy. But other than that, though, play a little bit of like Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3. I played through the initial first chapter of the game. Yeah, the gameplay's fun, everything like that, but yeah, I'm still trying to get my bearings of it. It's sort of like a stereotypical like action game, like action RPG sort of game, to where you can switch between your characters like fairly easy. There's a bunch of different like variety of characters you can unlock after chapter one. Like you start out with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which hey, that's always good with me. So it's like I'm mixing up between like Star Lord and stuff, and Rocket, or like Gamora and like
Drax.
Drax and stuff like that. You have all sorts of these double team moves you can do and stuff, and like the whole thing ties into pretty much like the Infinity Stones with Thanos and stuff. So it's kind of a cool beginning of it. But other than that, though, last thing I've been playing has been mostly sort of like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, trying to do that whole like just fists, the whole like battling with just fists and stuff like that. I've made substantial progress to where now I'm almost done with the first castle, and it's almost like 3 hours in to the thing in general. The initial thing that I did find out, though, I didn't save certain aspects of when I was doing certain bosses, so I had to repeat certain bosses over again, like the Ulrich quarters and like Legion and stuff. But what's kind of hilarious is I went back to do some of those battles a little bit later once I leveled up, because there were still things I had to collect and try to explore inside of like the lower areas of the first castle. My initial extent is to still go through and get the 200.9% in regards to exploration stuff as well as not using any type of like weapons other than my fists. So yeah, this challenge run for me so far has been fine. There have been some challenges here or there and some annoyances, but other than that, though, I'm still continuing on. And once I hit the second castle, like the reverse castle and stuff, it's going to be interesting to see how long I'm actually going to want to keep continuing this. But other than that, that's basically what I've been playing, though. But I'm going to step out for a little bit here, but go ahead and do what you're playing. Okay, Tyler?
All right, Gibbs. All right, so I've been just playing one game really this week. I've been playing through till I got. I guess I should probably say this. First time ever. Review copy was provided by the publisher, um, but I got a copy of a review code for TellTale's The Expanse. Um, I've played the first 2 episodes so far that are out, and so far I am absolutely loving it. If people don't know that you've only been listening for a short amount of time, I was a huge Telltale fanboy uh, back in the day, really from pretty much Walking Dead season 1 all the way to the end. I was pretty much there for the beginning for everything, the Batman games, all the Walking Dead seasons, um, even Tales of the Borderlands, all of those. Like I was there for, played them all, loved them all. So pretty much everything. I played everything but the Minecraft one. So that was the only thing I didn't play of theirs. After Walking Dead. But anyways, I really am enjoying it so far. What's crazy for me is like I am not like an Expanse fan really. Like I watched the first season when like shortly after it first came out, and then like right before season 2 started, and then I just never went back to starting season 2. And then a couple years ago, I actually like I want to go back and watch that. And I think it was right before the last season was about to air, and I actually watched the first season. I got like an episode or two into season 2. It just kind of fell off somewhere, and now because of this, I've actually gone back and started watching the show again. Now I'm almost done with. I just started over. I started over on season 2. I'm not gonna start from the season 1 again. I just started from season 2, episode 1, and now I think I'm like only a few episodes left in season 2. But this is what helps though is this is a prequel series, and they actually even kind of mentioned that with this you don't need to watch the show or know the books to enjoy the game. And this is about 5 year. Louis, what are you doing? Oh, my dog's being weird. Sorry about that. But Telltale's The Expanse takes place about I think it's all 5 years before the show starts or the book starts, and you play as a character named Drummer. She's actually she's a supporting cast character at least so far where I'm at in the watching the show now, and you work for the Belt. So for people who don't know this, the main crux of the story here is that it takes place, I believe, in the 2300s, and now it's like people are colonized Mars, and now it's like Earth and Mars are always kind of like it's kind of like how like the United States and Russia are always like on the verge of war, but they never go into war type of thing. Like basically the last like 100 years, it's kind of the same idea here with Earth and Mars, where like they're always very much like on the verge of like starting a war, but never starting a war. So like, there's always a lot of you know uh, they don't like each other. And then there's also like these people that they're called belters. They live like basically live on spaceships or live on like asteroids, like ships or like kind of like bases built on asteroids or on moons.
Right.
And they are like they're called belters. They're not Earthers or they're not Mars people, and they're kind of like lesser than like lower class citizens of those, and like kind of like a lot of people from those planets. They're called the inners because the inner planets um, look down upon them, and then like the Belters hate them because of that. And so, anyways, this is like you're people that you're on a ship, and you're like you play as drummer like I said, and like she's part of this crew of people, and it's hard to talk about these kind of games without spoiling them, but like basically you end up having upon something, and like kind of what's cool about this is like so this is the new Telltale. This is not like the that we talked about like years ago. Like I was incredibly sad when Telltale basically went out of business. Someone else bought it and kind of like rebranded it. They did bring back a lot of people from the original Telltale, but it's like a lot of new people as well. Deck Nine is also helping support development on this. Who make my two favorite Life is Strange, Before the Storm and Life is Strange True Colors, and kind of the idea of this game is like, and the kind of difference is like the other ones were like very much like straightforward. You just make decisions, and there's very little gameplay. You might walk around in like a small area, and you could talk to people or like interact with the objects or stuff like that. And this game definitely has that, but it's a new engine, which helps because that was the main issue. Was like they talked about like with Telltale. Was like that was a lot of frustration with the developers and the gamers alike. Where that the engine was definitely like it needed a lot of work done to it, or they just needed a new engine. But they talked about like they didn't have the time to make a game in the new engine because they were always on the verge of bankruptcy. That they couldn't spend the time to work on a new one or like make games for the new one. So this one has a new engine, which is nice. And also, what is wrong with you, Lou? Oh, my dog's like coughing over here. But anyways, um, so looks a lot nicer, looks a lot more up to date. It's not like a graphical powerhouse by any sense, but for a Telltale, it's a major upgrade, and I'm really enjoying this game so far. Like it is definitely has that Telltale magic that I love and I've missed dearly. Like really only thing like that does it is Deck Nine. Like the next, they've kind of filled that shoes for me of that style of game. But like I said, you play as drummer, and there's like you have like Maya, and you have these two brothers, and then like there's Cox, who's like the captain. Then like you're like on a ship that's like you're kind of like she's wanted by the UN, which is like the basically like the Earth's army. She's an outlaw kind of situation here, and you're like not really pirates, but you like basically live off salvage and stuff like that. And you come across the ship, you find something that happened here, and basically all shit goes down from there. And like I said, it's hard to like talk about these type of games like without spoiling too much, but um, so far I am incredibly happy. They add some more stuff too, like there's more open areas you can go around and you can explore, and there's like little like side quests you can do where you can find items that will like help like your favor with like other characters in the game, or will like you can like change like I said you can make your relationships better or worse, or uh, you just kind of like find more items, resources for your ship, stuff like that. You have to make major decisions in the game as well, like as you always do with the Telltale game. But so far, I am absolutely loving it. It is, like I said, like I'm someone that only ever watched the first season of Expanse, and after playing through episode one, I started watching season two, and I'm almost done with season two. And I've beat episode two today of the Telltale game. I am still loving it. I can't, I was like, I talked about like, I was so happy that they were back. And then I was kind of bummed out when they were like, oh, they're doing something Expanse. Like, I'm not an Expanse guy. But like I said, it helps. It's a prequel. Like, if you are someone that's a Telltale person and you don't, not an Expanse person, you can totally play this. There's no issues here. Like, they're not spoiling anything in the main show so far, at least. But also, like, you're not like you can play this without really having any knowledge of the books or the show. But yeah, so far, uh, big time thumbs up for me. The new episodes are coming out every 2 weeks from them, which is kind of cool. A little disappointing because like I think myself and a lot of people are over the episodic elements of gaming, but it does help that like hey, it's every 2 weeks. Um, so it's a lot easier of a pill to swallow there, where it's like before, like it was like like you might go 3 months without an episode. It might be a month without an episode. Like you never know when you're getting a new one. Will the company bankrupt mid-season? Who knows? Which happened with the final season of Walking Dead. So and then they were able to go back and finish it. But yeah, so far I'm loving this. I'm so happy they're back, and I can't wait to see what else they're gonna do. I know they have Wolf Among Us 2 coming out eventually, but yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with this. But yeah, I think that will wrap it up for us guys this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, all that. Please look down in the description down below. There are links to everything, all of our socials. If you just look on whatever podcast service you're on, we should be on it. Drunk Nerds, Drunk Nerds, Drunk Nerds Podcast, wherever. Search for that. You should find us. Like, follow, subscribe, 5-star reviews. You're on YouTube. Follow us, subscribe to us, give us a like, leave a comment, all that fun jazz. I really appreciate if you did all that for us. But I was your host, I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone. Thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds
And
podcast.
Gibbles,
Yep.
deuces, oos out.
Oh, so.
Bye, guys.
See ya.